Hello and welcome back to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I'm your host, as always, the mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendeka. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merc Zone, Mike Merkel.
I'm here.
We are here. We are starting a new year. Happy New Year from all of us here at the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast, and happy holidays. Hope you guys had a great Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you choose to celebrate. Mike, we have so much to go over. The biggest news coming out of this past week. The Final Four happened. Clemson, Ohio State was everything we thought it would be and more. LSU, Oklahoma was exactly what we thought it would be and less, because it was an absolute dumpster fire for the Oklahoma Sooners. We're going to get into that. We're also going to talk our end of the year awards. The first time here on the show, we are going to do end of the year awards. We're going to name our favorite wrestler of the year. We're going to name our favorite match of the year. We're going to name our favorite athlete of the year for any sport. Right? And our favorite game of any sport this year. That's right. And biggest moment. Let's go those five.
Okay.
We're going to go those five. So I'll give you some time to marinate on that.
Okay. I'm marinating in my nice flannel.
Percolate. Yeah, he's looking good. He's got an updated style. I mean, my style had nothing wrong with it, so it's the same as usual going into 2020. But we'll be there. We're rocking it full all the way. Let's jump right into it, though, Mike. We've got the two games we talked about a couple weeks ago. We were so excited for them. We finally got to watch them. Let's talk first about the first game, LSU, Oklahoma. An absolute dogfight.
Till the end of the game.
Till the end of the first, not 6 minutes? Because it actually wasn't even close after the first quarter. LSU wins big. What was the final score? 56-28?
Yeah.
56-28. So they win big. Joe Burrow throws 7 touchdowns in the first half. He accounts for 8. He rushes 1 from the second half just because he wanted to. Oklahoma really never could get out of the gate. Literally, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, Mike, where you said Oklahoma would be better off getting the ball first and trying to go down the field and score, and then at least you always have that 7-point buffer necessarily. Yeah. First play, sack. Second play, loss of 1. Third play, incomplete pass. And then LSU goes, and then you have a shanked punt, and then LSU goes on the field in 3 plays and scores, and it's like, well, it's over pretty much after that. And then I will give Oklahoma credit. They gave me a little bit of hope. The big 50-yard bomb. I was like, oh, maybe it's just some slow start. And then LSU proceeded to then take them to Pound Town, and it was pretty much over after the first quarter. I think it was 28-7 after the first quarter.
It was 21-7. But they were in the red zone.
Right, they were in the red zone, right? So it was 28-7 about a minute into the second quarter, and I think we all kind of knew at that point this game's pretty much done. I know Oklahoma went in a little banged up, especially in their secondary. They had a couple guys that went out. But once again, this is now the third year in a row. I want to talk about Oklahoma before we talk about LSU, because we're going to be talking about them, obviously, a lot coming in the next couple weeks. But Oklahoma's now third loss in the Final Four, right? And yet, it doesn't seem like anybody's freaking out. Doesn't seem like anybody's like, it's kind of like, okay, like everyone's still talking about Lincoln Riley going to the pros, or not talking about, but is this going to start to wear on people at some point? Does this hurt Oklahoma's chances at all next year, say, if, okay, in a similar situation that we had this year, to where, okay, they're kind of like the de facto 4, but say Alabama had a more statement win at some point during the year, right? And they only had the 1 loss, right? Say they beat Auburn, they lost LSU, but say they played somebody else during that year where they have a statement win, quote unquote. Do you think that if you're the committee, you would be more willing to take a Bama team without an SEC championship over another Oklahoma team, knowing that they've gotten blown out 2 out of the 3 years?
Well, it's actually 4 years.
Or 4 years. I'm sorry, 4 years. Yeah, you're right.
And you're 0-4.
Yeah.
We're just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
But no, because, again, when you talk about going into the Final Four, I look at the conference championship, meaning like almost everything. Like I think they should almost make the criteria for it. Like if you don't win it, then you're not eligible at all. Like I feel like that's like, because you have to make that game so important. Right. So I think that even though Alabama is like, oh, we only lost to LSU, who won the SEC championship, say, hypothetically next year. If Oklahoma goes 11-1 or 12-0 and they win their Big 12 championship, you still almost cannot put them in. Yeah. However, if they're not the best team, there's still other conferences that should. Oh yeah,
for sure, right? Usually, we're going based off of the fact that usually, as long as Clemson is Clemson, they'll be in, right? Yeah. The ACC, you got a Big 10 champion usually. You have the SEC, and you've got you've probably got the Big 12. We have yet to see a Pac-10 team get in.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Well, we have Oregon. We have Oregon, Washington.
Right. But like we haven't seen the last couple last couple of years where it's like, okay, you really need to do something special in those conferences to really get there. Plus, Oklahoma's such a a brand name at this point. But does this factor at all the fact that it's like these games have outside of the one duel with Georgia where Baker was there, these games haven't even been close.
Yeah,
like it's not even been remotely a football game. Like last year against Bama, it wasn't close.
Yeah.
Like it was like that game was over in the first half, right? This game was oh my gosh, just turn it off. Like there's a mercy rule should have been in effect halfway through the second quarter. Like no doubt, right? So at any point in time, does this start to get to a situation where does this start to hurt Oklahoma the more times they go into this thing and just get destroyed?
I would say no, because I don't look at last year's performance going into the next year. Like I'm not a big believer of let's get momentum at the end of this year to ride into next year.
It's too much change.
Like there's too much change, especially in college football. In the pros, I can believe that a slight bit.
Yeah, you got a 5-year you always have 30% change in roster, but your star players.
Yeah, your star players are always there normally.
Right.
In college football, you're going to lose Jalen Hurts, you're going to lose CeeDee Lamb, you're going to lose these big name guys who next year you're going to have to fill the role for.
Hell, you could lose your coach possibly.
Yeah. So with all of that, I just don't think these losses are we can't trust you guys, so we're just going to try our best to get somebody else in, kind of thing.
Right.
Like, maybe we should give Oregon a shot next year, but they won't have Herbert and this guy, so you don't know if they're going to be the same and stuff.
Right.
So I think it's just, you have to look at it year by year.
Yeah.
And not...
Right, for sure. I know just a lot of people have been saying online, you see where it's just like, well, what the hell was the point? Now, I don't think anybody gave a lot of people Oklahoma a shot, right? I thought it would be a closer game. I thought the offense would have been there a little bit more. Clearly, we were all wrong on that. But maybe LSU's that good, so let's talk about them. Let's talk about the number one team in the country. Let's talk about the Heisman Trophy winner. LSU came out, did exactly what they were expected to do, right? They came out, they shut them down defensively, especially early, and then they basically just blew the doors right off of them. Anything Joe Burrow did, it felt like, was going to go for a score. Yeah. They had a backup running back in. It felt like every time he rushed the ball, he was averaging 6 yards a carry. It was a perfect storm for LSU Saturday. And now what are we seeing is anything, can they be stopped? Is this the team where everyone's just going, well, just give them the trophy now?
No, they can be stopped because I don't think their defense, even though they were stopping Oklahoma, I still don't think they're the most unstoppable defense. And I think that's your little weakness that they have there.
For sure.
But their offense is something extraordinary.
Right.
But I think you also have to attest that maybe is it because Oklahoma's defense is 100th in the country, and not 120th in the country like it usually is, but they're still playing one of the worst defenses in the country that you can just throw all over them, or is it that they're legitimately that good? I guess that's when you'll find out against Clemson if we were wrong or right.
Yeah.
For sure,
absolutely. No, and it's just something to think about. Obviously, you have so many weapons. I mean, they're really 4 deep at wide receiver, right? Thaddeus Moss at tight end. He's pretty damn good. He might as well be a wide receiver, honestly. You've got at least 2 running backs now. You have Burrow. You have that offensive line that's clicking really on all cylinders right now. There really wasn't much where he was really in trouble at any point in time for the most part. Everything they did seemed to kind of just work for one reason or another. Is this one of those cases, though? Is this LSU's 1 year? Because Burrow's obviously going to go to the draft, right? He's probably going to be the number 1 pick, yada, yada, yada. Is there a reason? Is this kind of like one of those things where I think even LSU is like, okay, we gotta put all the eggs in the basket this year where we gotta go balls to the wall, every play, everything we have because we don't know if we're going to be here next year?
Yes, because Burrow's so transcendent and he's leaving that I don't know if that guy behind him is going to be like that. So you really, this is your year to shine.
Right.
So yes, I do 100%.
Because I'm noticing too, right? Because you see, some of these guys you have. All their draft stock. Any guy that's a junior right now, their draft stock is already tenfold higher because of their dominance over. They beat Georgia up pretty good. That game really wasn't a game either. You destroy Oklahoma. You're going to go against a good Clemson team. So if you win the national championship, everybody's draft stock is at its peak. Yeah. You know what I mean? Until actual draft season starts. So just something to kind of keep an eye on. Let's talk now.
Wait, I will say one thing though. It did look like how we always say about Michigan beating down on weaker teams.
Yeah.
I don't know because when you watch that game, they were just running deep routes.
Oh, yeah.
And just
yeah.
beating them one-on-one every single time.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that means you're just so much better than everybody else, or is it just a weaker competition?
We're gonna see.
Where Clemson's gonna
in a couple weeks, right? So let's talk about Clemson, Ohio State. Right, it was everything we wanted it to be. One of the best college football games I think in the past 5-10 years. It was there. It was there. You know what I mean? I mean, there was a lot to it. The story was there, right? 2 undefeated teams. You got a 28-0 team. You got a 19-0 team. You've got 2 young, phenom type quarterbacks everyone's raving about. 2 good run games. You got receivers all over the place. 2 of the top defenses in the country. Everything you could possibly want in this game, you had, right? Yeah. Clemson gets the victory because Ohio State doesn't know how to run routes, clearly, because one guy's running this way, quarterback's throwing this way, and that's all she wrote for Ohio State. I want to talk about Ohio State first, though. They go up 16-0 early, right? Can't get into the end zone. Obviously, that is kind of the mark on this game if you have one thing. But there was also some calls, though, in this game that I think as Ohio State fans are going to clamor and say, yeah, but if this goes this way, highlighting one thing in particular, the fumble, right? The catch fumble that wasn't to be, that they were scooped and scored for a touchdown. A, do you think that was a catch and then you think that should have been there? And 2, do you think that Ohio State kind of got the short end of the stick a little bit? Because let's be fair, every team, in every game, one team always kind of goes, well, we got something, right? It's inevitable, right? There's only so much you can do. Officiating has never been worse, I think, throughout all of football, let's be honest. But with that being said, do you think that Ohio State kind of got the short end of the stick in this game? I know Ryan Day kind of alluded to it in his post game with Tom Rinaldi. He was kind of like, we're not going to get into that right now, which I thought was a little classless, honestly, in my opinion. Like, take the loss. You can talk about that after the game. But just your thoughts on the officiating of the game, specifically the catch fumble that wasn't to be.
Yeah, well, to answer that question, I do think it was a catch and fumble.
I do too, absolutely.
And when they overturned it, I was quite shocked. However, I will say, like I always say, though, that if people are like, that's the one call, like, we lost because of that call, you didn't lose because of that call.
Right.
You lost everything because of the fourth quarter and how you game managed, kicking field goals instead of getting touchdowns in the early part of the game, and then not being able to execute late in the game, unlike how Trevor Lawrence was able to execute late in the game.
Right.
So those are the reasons why you lost. That call just didn't help you at all.
Right, and I think there's a couple things. I think there's a very distinct play for me, not the interception at the end of the game, that I think they're almost trying not to lose this game. They were up at this point, although they weren't up. It was their it was right before they scored the touchdown, right? So it's right before that they run a bubble screen on like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4, right? When all they've been doing all game long is killing Clemson in the secondary with these comeback routes, with the quick, with the quick throws. They've been killing them one-on-one. And they run a bubble screen, and I'm like, and at that point, I went, they overthought it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was that distinctive play for me where I went, if Clemson escapes this game, you can look back and kind of call like that and go, you overthought yourself and thought, let's get a little too tricky with it and go score. Like, I thought Clemson in the first half of that football game got outcoached.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State had a great plan. I think Ohio State took the tempo. I think they took the physicality. I thought J.K. Dobbins was a monster, obviously. But I thought that Clemson was doing the same thing that I think Ohio State kind of fell into. Once Ohio State got knocked out of rhythm and that targeting call happened, which, do we both agree that was a targeting?
Yes. However, going back to watch it, I do think it's a tougher call.
Yeah.
Because he does dip his head really far down.
Yeah.
Like, if he stands straight up, he hits him in the shoulder.
Right.
And when he dips his head, it's helmet to helmet. But also, it is...
If he leads... Well, the problem I have is that if you lead with the head, that's my problem that I have, where if he tried to make an adjustment or if he tried to go whatever, right, even if it led with the face mask, I would have been more okay with the hit. It's the fact that he went and he dipped his head. For me, that's where I went, I don't care where he hits him at that point, you're gone. Like, that's just, I don't like the targeting call or like the whole construct of the rule. I think it's annoying, honestly, because I think it impacts too many big games. However, if we're going to go by the interpretation of the rule, sorry about your luck. It is what it is.
I do think, though, like, he dipped his head to hit him in the shoulder or, like, stomach area. And then Trevor went, shit, and then, like, went down and then hit him in the head, which kind of sucks for him. But whatever. With that being said, though, That's another thing though, where he gets targeted, he goes out of the game, and then you go score 14. All you have to do is stop him one of those times, and it's not as bad. Like there's so many points.
Right, for sure, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, right? But I think the biggest factor, that you can kind of point to in this game specifically is the fact that you did have the ball in your hands at the end of the game to win it. It's not like you were on defense, they had the ball, you're trying to get a stop, and then there's a call that kind of goes that's flaky that kind of then screws you out of even having a chance to get the ball back. You had the ball, you were driving. I mean, you went right down the field 3 plays. I mean, everyone forget to cover the best player on the field, J.K. Dobbins, for whatever reason. I don't understand. And then, you have that miscommunication after a timeout, nonetheless, too, where you go, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? That's kind of one of those things where you just go, oh, crap. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was like one of those situations where you're like, man, if you could just get out of your own way. And 2, I mean, you're up 16-0. The fact that you blow that lead, right? That's tough. That's really, really tough to kind of take. Now let's talk the other side of this though. Clemson, they come back from 16, they get the win. Trevor Lawrence has a phenomenal 65-yard run in the first half. He goes and leads them down the field with the kind of the Tebow type play, the jump and throw kind of thing that he had to go. That was intense. A hell of a game for him. I think it builds on Trevor Lawrence's legacy. But I want to talk about, do you think that this game will make Clemson stronger going into the national championship? Or do you think that LSU is now licking their chops? Because let's be fair, Clemson's defense did not play well.
Yeah.
They did not play well in this game, if we're being honest. I mean, Ohio State shot themselves in the foot a couple times here. I mean, so the last play withstanding, right? Yeah. I mean, if he throws it the other way and he doesn't slip, that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's not even arguable. Are you concerned as being a Clemson guy, right? Are you concerned at all that LSU is just going to go in there with a buzzsaw of an offense and go, we're just going to tear you up?
I mean, there's always that concern.
Yeah.
However, I do think that Ohio State beat the crap out of you on the ground, which is something I don't think LSU will do.
Yeah.
I think LSU is going to try to beat you in the air, and that's something that Clemson didn't really let them do for the most part. He threw for 42 times.
Oh, yeah,
for sure. He completed 18 passes.
Right, absolutely.
Through the air,
no doubt.
Fields was not
as effective as he normally is.
So it was just all the ground game. Like, J.K. Dobbins does go off for those 2 80-plus yard runs.
Yeah.
They don't get those 2 scores.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's how they go up or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I think you can look at that and go, there is that weakness in the defense area, but at the same time you go, but when Joe Burrow throws for 8 touchdowns, maybe he's not throwing for 8 touchdowns this time, because that secondary actually isn't as bad as people think it is.
Right.
So I don't think there's a glaring weakness in there like people think there is.
For sure. Are you concerned at all with the slow start that Clemson? This is the first game Clemson's really played all year, let's be fair, right? Yeah. The ACC is garbage. This is the first game they came out super slow, right? The first drive, they missed the field goal. Okay, whatever, right? Yeah. They match Ohio State's 3. But after that entire first half up until the middle of the second quarter was a complete disaster offensively. Couldn't get out of the blocks. Trying too many, behind the... It looked like a Jim Bob Cooter offense is really what it looked like, honestly. You know what I mean? Quick throws that weren't there. You're trying to run inside zones that aren't there. You're trying to do these read options, and you're just getting swallowed up early. Yeah. You know what I mean? Are you concerned at all with the fact that they started out so slow out of the blocks, and you can't do that against an LSU team, or because they kind of went, oh, hey, remember we're Clemson, we have a really good quarterback. Let's throw the frickin' ball. Yeah. Are you more like, okay, we can? You're more worried about the second half than you are the first half.
See, I look at this game. This game reminded me so much of a Patriot-style game.
Oh my gosh!
Where they just come out the blocks against Kansas City or something, and they're just so dead and they're so slow, and you're like, this is probably the end of it. Yeah. And all of a sudden, somewhere in the game, they just go, no matter what, we're gonna find a way to win. Whether it's run with Trevor Lawrence, whether it's pass to our 4th string receiver because everyone else is getting hurt, whether it's just run the ball up the middle every single time. They did so much, and we're just going to find a way to survive. Mm-hmm. And I think against LSU, that's what they're going to have to do. Is they're just going to have to survive. Yeah. Clemson's not the better team. By any means, any stretch of the imagination, they're not the better team.
No.
But I think they can survive. Mm-hmm. And with Trevor Lawrence there, I think you're good enough to just get one more point.
Right. Make that one more play. One more play big enough for that, for sure. One more thing here. I don't want to get your prediction on the national championship yet because I want to wait for that. We're going to make people marinate on what we're talking about, tell us how wrong we are, and then we're going to come back and tell them why we're right. And then we're also going to talk about, because I want to talk about this matchup individually, right? I think it deserves this kind of matchup. I do want to ask you one quick thing, though, before we go to break, though, back on Ohio State. And I want to ask you about Chase Young real fast, okay? Let's just say, for instance, right, my dreams come true. Lions lose today on Sunday, and Washington somehow beats the in flames Dallas Cowboys, right?
Sure.
Eagles win the division.
Fair.
And the Lions go to second overall.
Yeah.
Chase Young, for a good majority of the last 2 games, has been, actually, I'm going to say the last 3 games, because against Michigan, has been a non-factor. Now, granted, he's being called out, right? Double team, triple teams, whatever has to happen, right? But, with that being said, he's quote-unquote the best prospect outside of Joe Burrow, who's probably going to go number 1 in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Are you concerned at all, if you are a Lions fan, that Chase Young may not be Mac Daddy of them all?
I've been concerned almost all year about this very thing.
Yeah.
Because as the Lions started tanking,
and
you can kind of see
it clearly.
You see the path opening up of, we're going for Chase Young.
Right.
And then now you have to dive deeper into who Chase Young is.
Right.
And when you watch that game yesterday, there were plays, and Kyle was with us, and he's not here today, but he was with us, and he goes, is Chase Young even on the field right now?
Right.
And we have to look.
Right.
And be like,
where is he?
Yeah, where is he?
Right.
And that's not good when you're a defensive guy who's up there for the Heisman candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Up there. He was a top 4 candidate, and he is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
I think that is very scary if you're a Lions fan, because me watching, I think he was even taken out of third down, third and medium, where he should be pass rushing. Certain pass plays, he's just taken out of the game completely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether he's hurt a little bit, which would be scary, or if it's just he's not effective enough, so they put someone else in there.
Right.
And all of that scares me a lot. So I would be very worried.
Yeah.
As a Lions fan, going at number 2.
Absolutely. So I mean, granted, it's going to take a lot for the Lions to get there. It is what it is.
I mean, hypothetically, even number 3, you still have a chance at
him. For sure. Right. There's obviously moves that can be made and done, whatever else like that. But it's just something for us to think about, right? It's the same thing we do a lot, in pre-draft process, where we kind of go, okay, what's wrong with him, right? What's wrong with this guy or this guy or this guy, right? There's always those games where you go, where were you? Yeah. Where were you in this situation? Like if Joe Burrow comes out and throws 4 picks, in the national championship, do you as a Cincinnati fan begin to worry? Maybe. Depends on those things kind of happen. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things. If Trevor Lawrence falls off a cliff next year, right, maybe he's not the number 1 pick. Say they win the national, okay, maybe he's not. There's a lot of factors there. But
I will say, when you look at the Lions' defense, if this is how they're going to run their scheme on defense, I would be extremely worried, because if you're only going to blitz 3 guys, and Chase Young's one of the 3,
you need him to be effective.
That means he's getting a double team, and he's not getting through the double team, because obviously against college guys, he can't get through the double team.
Right, at least on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Right, that's the thing, right? You're supposed to be a game-changer guy. Like I said, I think we said it earlier on, I think Michigan kind of provided the blueprint how to stop him a little bit, right? They really put a key emphasis that he is not going to ruin our game. I think everybody just went, yep. So, very interesting to watch. I still think he's going to be a top 2 or 3 pick, but be very interesting. I'm really excited for draft talk. Can't wait for draft talk. You can tell I'm a Lions fan.
Are these going to be shorter Merc Zone draft corners?
Oh no, we're still going to go. We're still going to go through like we always do. Come on, we got to provide that great content. Come on, now it's a fan favorite of the show. Come on, if it's not, it is for me at least. All right, after the break, Mike, we are going to go into our end of the year awards. The decade is coming to a close. 2020 is right around the corner. We're going to talk all of our favorites, maybe some of the worst too, just to make fun of them again one more time. All that great stuff coming up after the break. Stick around. And welcome back to part 2 of episode, what are we like 57, 58, 90?
Something like that.
I don't remember.
90?
No, you'll know when we're at our 100th episode. It's going to be a bonanza for sure.
Yeah, we're just going to give the same great content.
Exactly, that's exactly right.
Maybe by that time, maybe the Lions would be like in Super Bowl race, because that'll be like next year.
That'd be great. That would be nice. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it'll be next year.
It'll be like next Super Bowl-ish time, right?
That'd be Fantastic.
And we'll be at 100th episode. We'll have the
100th episode, we got a Super Bowl party, then 101st episode, we'll all be devastated. It'll be great. Alright, let's jump into it though. We're going to do end of the year awards. The IAR Awards, quote unquote. It's a black tie event, obviously. Mike wore a flannel, so that's how you know. That's how you know.
We're going to give away a belt to everyone that wins. So we have enough.
Not these ones though. These ones are too nice for them.
My bad. We're not giving away these. Pre-game.
But let's talk about it. Let's jump right in. Let's start off with your Mike. Let's do the wrestling stuff first because I think that's one that I think a lot of people are you see it online. A lot of people have been doing these. Every wrestling website we've seen, they all have these end of the year awards. They do like a top 10 or whatever else like that. But give me your superstar of the year, quote unquote. Now it doesn't have to be a superstar necessarily.
I guess so.
But who's your male wrestler of the year to start off? Going in.
Well, Will Ospreay's my wrestler of the year.
I have a feeling.
I mean, I don't have much to say about it. If you watch him. If you watch any match in the last year, you know.
Yep.
And he's
phenomenal.
Probably the best in the world right now.
Probably.
Like in ring wise, I wouldn't say. I would maybe not mic wise or whatever else you want to equate to the best, but like in ring work.
Yeah.
You name a guy, put him against him, it's gonna be a 5-star classic. Yeah. So that's Will Ospreay.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I'm gonna say my boy Adam Cole for Superstar of the Year. I think Seth Rollins is also heavy on mine as well, just based off of. I think he had a great match against Brock at SummerSlam. The Mania match was whatever, right? It was kind of cool because it opened the show. But Adam Cole, I think, is definitely for me. I look at Adam and I go, okay. Win the NXT title, check.
Yeah.
Right? The era has been dominant. They haven't slowed down. He's put up great performances against guys like Daniel Bryan now. He's had that match against Finn Balor. Even last week, Finn Balor, that was a phenomenal match, right? Yeah. He's been doing a lot of good stuff. His mic work is pretty damn on top of his game right now. In-ring work is good, even though he's been banged up. They did that whole thing. Really been the catalyst for what NXT is trying to do in a lot of respects. And I think he is the guy that they kind of built themselves around right now. And I think he has done an absolutely phenomenal job. It doesn't hurt that he's been the champ for a good chunk of the year, but at the same time, but he's been really on top of it. That whole group has really been really rolling on all cylinders. But I would say the match quality's been there, the promo quality's been there. I think he is definitely the guy, and especially with the move to USA, it doesn't feel like they've been like mutated. Like the characters haven't been like stripped of what makes them them, which has been a really nice touch. I want to ask you this though: promotion of the year. I know that's why I didn't give you, but promotion of the year. I didn't prep you for that one, but just off the cuff, promotion of the year. Because now, ladies and gentlemen, we have more than one Mac Daddy here in the U.S., right? You've got AEW now. You can say Ring of Honor. I know that's not going to be your answer. But, you've got New Japan. You've got these things if you want to go Mexico and CMLL or AAA or whatever else you want to run. But
I watched maybe one show.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So that was a really good show. I'm going to go New Japan. I think consistently they put on the best. However, I guess you could say, like, do you want to count NXT in WWE, or are they, like...
No, I would count them just
in WWE. Because I don't like the main roster stuff they do on WWE, but NXT's been great. So I guess in all of a whole promotion out of New Japan, with an asterisk on, I like everything NXT does.
Right, okay.
But that's like a...
So if I said show of the year, you're going to say NXT?
I'd probably say NXT.
Over AEW?
Yeah, because AEW's only been on for 2 months now.
Right.
Like NXT's been consistent for 12 months.
Yeah, for sure.
And their shows in the last 8 weeks have been better probably than AEW's.
Yeah, I would probably say that too. I think New Japan's done a great job. If you're not a New Japan fan, you really need to kind of get on the bandwagon here. I can't sell it enough. If you're not a wrestling fan at all, what are you doing? Let's go. Jump on the bandwagon. Let's go. But no, I think New Japan's done a great job of reloading on talent. I've said this several times on the show now. They've done a really, really nice job of just going, all right, Bucks are gone, Kenny's gone, this guy's gone, this guy's gone. No, we're okay. We're just going to do this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy now. And you're just like, damn, like going in next week, right, we're going to be talking about Wrestle Kingdom, and we're going to be talking about the fallout of that, and we're going to be talking about how, like, we're going to witness at least 2 phenomenal title matches on night 1. Yeah. Not even alone night 2. So we're going to have 3 title matches.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That are expected to blow off that place.
When you hit like June or July, you go, how is this Wrestle Kingdom card going to shape up?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden in 3 months, you're like, wow, so you got Ospreay, Tanahashi, you got this guy and this guy, you have the dual championship matches. You're like, wow, in 3-4 months you build 15 matches everyone cares about. Right. There's not a single match that bores you.
Exactly, absolutely. No doubt about it. All right, let's go now from the wrestling side for just a second. Let's just talk overall here. Let's talk about best team of any sport of all of 2019. Give me your team of the year. They don't even necessarily need to be the champions, but team for you that for whatever reason just you thought, wow, they dominated their sport in such a way. I don't know if you want to go Golden State. But awesome. give me a team that you think that is, or maybe that you've just kind of seen them over the past few years, and 2019 was finally the year kind of thing. It was the year for you.
Okay, well, you go first. I'm not prepped yet.
Right, I'm going to say the Toronto Raptors. And here's why I say this, is because for me, right, first off, it's Toronto. Where the hell is that? Where the hell did that come from, right? Yeah. They did enough things knowing they're the one team I've seen in the last so many years now that win now, and they knew they had a 1-year window and actually cashed in on it, right? Mm-hmm. The Rams, that was a disaster. You look at them now; they paid all this money to all these guys they thought were good, and they're all terrible, right? Toronto went out and said, all right, we're going to go sign Queller, we're going to go trade for Marc Gasol, we're going to go win an NBA championship, knowing that he may stay, but there's a good chance he's going to leave, and yet they won the championship. Mm-hmm. You gave everything the fans wanted. They wanted a contender, you got it. They wanted to win the conference, they got it. They won the championship, they got their ring, so now it's okay, we're good for the next 5 to 10 years, right? If you do nothing else, you can go back and say, 2019, we won the NBA title, we're good. We did it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't remember a last team who went out and said, we're just going to go out and win the championship, knowing that this is our bigger window is. And we got to throw through this window, or else it's going to, be a catastrophe around us. Oh, you know what I mean? Man. Just for that one window of time, right? You can point to New England, right, as a team of the 20 years, really. You know what I mean? Where they've won, 3 Super Bowls? Yeah. You know what I mean? So, you could point to them, right? To the defending Super Bowl champions, for goodness sake. But for me, just in this 1-year window, you go and say, damn, what else can you ask for? You gave him a winner. You said, let's put all our eggs in the basket. You fire your coach of the year for another guy you think can get you over the hump, and he actually does it. That stuff doesn't happen in sports. Everybody thinks it should, where it's all right, let's buckle in, but rarely does it ever happen, and so it's kind of cool to see a team in not a major market like Toronto is as far as NBA goes. It's not like we're talking about the Maple Leafs here in hockey. So it's just, for me, it's good on you, Toronto. Good on you.
Okay, so I'm going to go in a different sport than you.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
A sport that you probably wouldn't even expect me to hit around. I'm going to go the Houston Astros.
Really? All right, that's cool. Yeah, for sure.
I think what they've been able to do because they won the championship in 2017,
right,
and then 2018 they missed it. Yeah. But then coming back in 2019 with their rotation, one of the best rotations in baseball since I can remember. Yeah. You have some of the best hitters in baseball that I can remember, and you have just all this collective group of people that are no matter what, we're gonna be there, and they're not the biggest market either.
No, absolutely not. Nope.
Houston Astros. Let's go there.
Right.
You either go to the Yankees, you go to the Red Sox, you go to
Dodgers.
Dodgers. You got these bigger markets, and then you got the Astros over here who are listen, we're just gonna be consistently good for the next 5 years. I think 2019, even though they didn't win it, you were in it. You were in a Game 7.
Right. And you maintain a level there, right? Yeah. And it's obviously hard just to kind of in a vacuum pick a team, right? Because you got to have to see the overarching plan. But to your point, right, they're going to be good next year. They have pieces in place where it's no, we'll be okay, right? And we haven't really hit the spending spree in MLB free agency yet either, so obviously we've yet to see what's going to come from that. But you're right, that's a great team because they've done something where, once again, outside of the 1 year they had Roger Clemens where they were good, they've been nothing but a bottom dweller team for so long, and all of a sudden it's they shoot up and you're just oh, okay, they're just in the World Series now. You know what I mean? So that's a great pick, honestly.
I do think it's coming sooner than later to an end with this.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think they've got maybe 2 years left. Yeah. Maybe depends on where the rotation is, honestly. Yeah. But that's a great pick, though. Let's go with this. Let's say moment of the year. Is there a moment in professional wrestling, in football, in basketball, baseball? Is there something for you that you just go, wow? Was it a game? Was it a whatever it was where you just like, you're just at the bank, you're just like, holy crap, that was awesome, or like something that you will always remember sports-wise in 2019 that you maybe are just like, my goodness. I know I'm throwing a lot of these at you. Just throw some backstory while Mike's thinking. We didn't really talk about this beforehand. I want to get like his fresh take. You want to see, if you can see, there's little lines going above his head right now. His brain's steaming right now.
Yeah, I got a cloud there trying to think about what I'm going to say here. Oh boy, oh boy, oh
right?
boy.
I know, it's hard. It's hard for sure. I have one.
Actually, I do have one now.
All right.
I will say the match between Dustin and Cody Rhodes at Double or Nothing.
Okay, I didn't think you were going to go wrestling, actually.
I wasn't. I was actually going to say the Raptors winning the title because I feel like I'll remember that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
10 years from now, we go, what happened in 2019? That's probably the first thing I'll say.
Yeah.
But I will say that match, it's like one of their first AEW show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the first of the 3 main events. Definitely the best match on the card by far.
Right.
And it was just the emotion. You had like the blood, you had the brother versus brother. Then after the match, they're like crying and then they go in a tag team on the next show. Mm-hmm. And you just have all this emotion, everything in one match, and like everyone in the arena's crying.
Yeah.
Like that's like one moment that like you see a picture from, you're like, I remember that.
Right.
I remember sitting there watching this show.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So sure. I will say Dustin and Cody, Double or Nothing, May 25th.
Right. I'm going to say Chiefs, Patriots, AFC Championship game. That's game was such a roller coaster for me. That was a moment when Brady, on those 3 consecutive 3rd and longs, hits Edelman all 3 times and finds him. It's like everybody in the world knows where they're going.
Yeah.
And you couldn't stop it anyway. And it was just like, it's 3rd and 10. Okay. Oh my gosh, they just threw a pick to start the overtime. Oh, no, never mind. T Ford's offside. So you're just like, oh my gosh. And it's like neither defense is worth anything. They can't stop a soul. And then when they finally win and they win the game after coming back, and you're just like, they just, Kansas City, the new hotness, right? They're this unstoppable buzzsaw of an offense. Clearly, like if Kansas City wins the coin toss, they're going to go down the field and score. There is nobody that can argue that. But the fact that New England did it the way it happened, with so many of these like big clutch throws by a 55-year-old man, to a guy who didn't even play wide receiver in college, like all the things are just like it's like a recipe for just like by the end of it, you're not even like happy. It's like you're relieved because you're just like, I just went through a war like myself of like that's kind of how I felt yesterday a little bit, honestly, with the Clemson Ohio State game. Like I was on the edge of my seat because I'm like. And I texted you this when Clemson scored. I went, it was too soon. They scored too fast. They gave them too much time. They haven't been able to stop them all game long. Mm-hmm. They're going to score. And you're like, I don't know, maybe. And, it's like, I was like, oh my gosh.
Can't lose faith.
Right. It's one of those things where you're just like, I hope they score, and then we just get like 4 touchdowns in a minute, I guess. But, Kansas City, New England, AFC title game, for me, was just like, wow, because the Super Bowl, as great as we talked about it, was good for different reasons, but I was never like, I didn't feel like I was invested.
Yeah.
But just because you're just like, what the hell is going to happen now? There wasn't a lot of that. It was what's going to happen first in that game, right? Where in the Chiefs game, it was like, what else can they do? What else can they throw at each other? Rather than, all right, well, everyone's throwing jab, jab, jab. Some point, someone's going to come with an uppercut. It just finally happened, you know what I mean? And that one, it was like everyone's throwing haymakers. Whoever's left standing at the end. Absolutely phenomenal. Give me your male athlete of the year, non-wrestling. Like, give me one guy for you that just kind of came onto the scene, or he's been there a long time, and you just go, I don't know how the hell he keeps doing it. Maybe just a guy no one thinks about, for other reasons.
True. Rob, you go first. All right, you have geared up and ready to go.
What's funny is it's hard because I have a couple really. It would be easy for me to say a guy like Patrick Mahomes, right? MVP on the cover of Madden, all that kind of good stuff. For me, I would have to say it's tough because like at one point, I'd like to be able to say a guy like LeBron, but that was a dumpster fire of a season last year. Now, if we're doing this show a year from now and they win a championship, then maybe we can say LeBron was the guy. But this year, I'm going to say Brady. Listen, as much as people want to give him crap, right? The numbers may not be there anymore. They're still playing today to win another bye, right? They've been in the playoffs. They've won the division a gazillion times. I get it, the division sucks, but the fact that they've done it as many times in a row as they have is incredible. The fact they've won 3 more championships over the age of 35 is crazy. The fact that they've been there 4 times and they've done it and everything else like that, and the fact that no matter what, once again I go back to, it's just, even now, right? No one, I don't think, truly believes that New England has a chance, right? But when the playoffs start, it's just a different team. Now, they could go and lose in the first round to a Buffalo or to a whoever, and if that happens, don't call me shocked. But at the same time, if you see him in the AFC title game against Baltimore, I won't be shocked either. You know what I mean? And I think it's due to Belichick, obviously, but I think it's also due to the way Brady prepares, the way he's been able to do it for so long. The fact that he's 40-something, what is he, 43?
42?
42? 43? 40,
I don't know when his birthday is, but...
I don't know either. Anyway, the fact he's playing at this high of a level, and he's not a pick machine like Favre was at the end of his career, is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm going to give the nod to Brady, but, okay. I mean, that's a cop-out answer. I'm a big Brady guy.
Okay, well, I'm going to cop out, I guess. Yeah, that's awkward. Right. I'm going to go Russell Wilson.
There you go.
For having... Not preseason, having people go, oh, they're probably 7-9 to 9-7, won't do very much, but might make a playoff seed or something, to now being 11-4 playing against the 49ers in Week 17 for a chance at winning the division, which nobody thought they were going to win the division with this lineup of a team.
For sure.
I think it's impressive. I mean, you have Chris Carson at running back, who's now hurt, has been hurt like all season long, it seems like, and you have Tyler Lockett at wide receiver. With one of the worst O-lines out there.
And they got Marshawn Lynch now.
And now they got Marshawn Lynch coming back.
We'll talk
so
about
that's helpful. So you lose Chris Carson, you get Marshawn Lynch, still only have Tyler Lockett, Josh Gordon.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that's it. Russell Wilson literally carrying a team on his back.
A post-Legion of Boom team, too, right? Yeah. Like, the defense is not what it was, right? Everybody kind of thought that he rode their coattails a little bit to that championship, right or wrong. But now you're seeing a complete culmination of like, wow, no, he's doing it all by himself.
I think how Seattle did it was almost perfect, where you had the defense early in his career, so he can go. He's like, let me learn how to go win.
Yeah.
He won a Super Bowl. He lost in the Patriots Super Bowl at 49, and then the Legion of Boom starts breaking down, but now he's like, hey, I know how to do this thing called quarterback, and now I can take over this team and make it mine.
Right.
And he's really done a good job over the last 2 years.
Absolutely.
And this year was a culmination of he's literally thrown 30 touchdowns.
I don't know how anybody could say anybody else is the MVP. Honestly, in my opinion, right now, there's not another. Maybe I get it. Lamar's the new hotness or like that, but Lamar's got a great defense. Lamar's got a running game. Now, granted, Lamar is part of that running game. I get it.
Yeah.
But
Lamar has 12 Pro Bowlers on his team, which is an NFL record. Seattle has 1. And it's on defense. It's Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, right.
Other than Russell Wilson,
right.
He has a defensive Pro Bowler.
Right, yeah.
So,
I think the way he's doing it, the amount of injuries that have really piled up here, even the past couple weeks, it's very interesting, but I think that is a great pick. All right, I want to do this real fast before we get the heck out of here for our last show of 2019, which is very weird to say. Give me the one thing you're going to remember about this decade, like 2010 to 2019, right? Give me the one thing, that's the one thing that's always going to stand out to you where you're like, because every decade, right, there's certain things that happen, right? Whether it's a dynasty, whether it's something, where you just go and it's is it the LeBron winning the title, or is it the fact that the Warriors dominated for that stretch of time where you've never seen a level of dominance like that? Is it, New England doing it again? Is it whatever it is? But something always leaves a mark on you as a fan. And you just turned 20, right? So this is literally the height of your fandom has been the last 10 years. You know what I mean?
I started watching sports when I was 8.
Right, exactly. So you're really coming into your own as far as, you know what I mean? So I'm 25, so I've got a little bit more time. And I'm a big history guy, so I go really far back. So I have a lot of things that kind of encapsulate my sports fandom, right? Where you're finally getting into that in that kind of mode here. So what is for you the one thing that you're just gonna be like, man, remember when this happened?
Okay. Well, I don't know if I have a moment, but I will say a culmination of just like the NBA for the last 10 years, like just having LeBron as my favorite player. 8 straight finals started in 2011, and his last one that he didn't make was 2019.
Right.
So for the better part of literally the entire time I've been watching basketball, he's been in the finals.
Yeah.
So all of those moments, I think the one that encapsulates it is the Cleveland game, where he beats the Warriors 93-89 with Kyrie's shot and then his free throws, and you finally win it for Cleveland. I think that was like, I was watching that going, that is like the 2010s for me. Is that one moment probably. So probably LeBron winning that title specifically, other than his other.
Like you can point like in the NBA, right? You can go, okay, Jordan had the 1990s, right? That was his decade, right? The 2000s you can probably say were the Lakers' year for the most part, right? I mean, they had 3 championships in that time. So you could probably say that time frame, right? You can point to Kobe's, that was probably Kobe's decade from 2000 to 2008 or 9, right? You know what I mean?
Him or Duncan.
Right, exactly, right? Those 2 teams, right? You had like those pillars, right? The 2010s up until now has been LeBron's decade, right? Whether he won the title or not, it's been LeBron and then everybody else who everybody thought that could beat LeBron. You know what I mean? Whether they beat him or not is not the point. The fact that it was with LeBron against, name a guy, right? Whether it was the Spurs, whether it was against the Thunder, the Heat, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have one. That's tough because like I ask these questions hoping to like stump you, but in turn I'm stumping myself at the same time.
Well, you said mine.
Huh?
You literally, you're gonna say LeBron? I said,
I don't know, right? Because I don't know if you're gonna go like that was the thing or something else stuck out to you.
I'll say another one. I think you should probably say this is Super Bowl 51.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that New England.
I don't think I'll ever forget. Like
I will never. Back. That is true. That I have 2. Then I have 2.
Okay.
That's one right there because I will never forget that game.
Yeah.
I will never. I was gonna because I'm like I don't want to say New England again because I just said Brady, right? But that kind of gets lost in the shuffle a bit. That game, me and you watching that game together, I was like, I've never been more like of awe-inspired of a performance like that, where everything just kind of like magically comes together after everything could have gone as worst as it possibly could, to the complete opposite. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. The other one I'm going to say is Undertaker losing his streak.
Okay.
That's the other one for me as a lifetime wrestling fan, being like going in feeling so confident, like, no, like there's no way, they're not dumb enough to do this, right? It's the one thing. They can do anything else and people will forgive them. This is the one thing you can't touch. And they bleeped it up anyway. And as a fan, for me, I was very emotional because I was like, that was not okay. Like for me as a fan, you know, being around the time where the streak really became like a thing, like it was like, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a thing now, you know, where like people finally acknowledge, oh, he hasn't lost at WrestleMania in forever.
I was going to say, I think that came around like WrestleMania 22, 23.
Right, well, even a little bit before that, right, like I know WrestleMania 18, Taker went like this after he beat Flair and he hold up 10 fingers. Like it wasn't like that was the reason why he was facing Flair was to beat the streak, but you're right, that was when they first started, oh, wait, look at that, he's like 12-0. Oh, maybe we should start making this like an annual thing, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that it happened so organically, and the fact that it was like, okay, you look at all the list of guys he beat, you're just like, damn. I mean, there's some stinkers early on, like King Kong Bundy and stuff. But after that, I mean, even Psycho Sid for the title, right? He beat Kane a couple times. He beat Triple H. He beat Shawn. He beat Mark Henry. He beat Orton. He beat all these guys. They're Hall of Fame guys. And you're just like, damn. You know, and if he was going to lose to anybody, I get why he loses to Lesnar. But as a fan, for me, not knowing if he was coming back the next year was just like, oh, like really in the feels, like got me. You know what I mean? And those were one of those times where like, I'll never forget that. A, because I was so pissed and it ruined the rest of the show for me. And 2, just because it was like, wow, I can't believe they actually did it. Because I've never heard a group of 90,000 people just go silent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was one of those crazy moments. But all right, that's going to put a wrap up here for the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast for 2019, for the decade. I know we've only been around for like 2 years, so we got the very tail end of this decade. But the next decade, though, it's the year of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I'll tell you that right now. But I hope you guys all have a great new year. This show obviously will be up like it is every single week, Monday morning on all your favorite streaming sites. Be sure to be on our mailing list, IamAlwaysRightPC.com. For the Merc Zone, for the Missing Wheelman, for the Missing Brain, for everybody else here at the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. We will see you in 2020.